Ooh, how's it going, guys? I am Marcelo. Thanks for watching the vid. This is gonna be sort of a rant. It's just my opinion on Captain America's ending in Avengers Endgame. So spoiler warning, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch the video. Come back later after you've seen it because I'm gonna be talking about how they handled Steve Rogers in Endgame. Okay, cool? Nice. I'm not gonna go in depth or revolve around time travel because that's like a lot of BS. People nitpick time travel so much that it's just boring to me. So I don't want to bore you and talk about time travel and how I think it works. So fuck that. I don't want to talk about time travel. I will mention though alternate timelines, and just like that's as much as time travel is going to be mentioned in this video. Okay, nice. So the main thing we're going to be discussing here is how did Steve land in our present? How is old Steve possible if he created an alternate timeline, a different timeline, when he went to the past and stayed with Peggy? So I have two options, two possibilities of how this is possible and the consequences. Now we know Steve went back with Mjolnir with the stones and tried to put everything where it belonged, everything to its original place. The first possibility is that Steve did indeed create an alternate timeline, but we never got to see where he and Peggy were married. Like they possibly went off and were superheroes together. They stopped Hydra from infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. They rescued Bucky, prevented Howard Stark's assassination, negated the need for the Avengers entirely. Like maybe the Avengers were not needed at all because they saved the fucking world. And in that process, they erased, or Steve erased, the entire life that Peggy Carter had, like without him at all. Her husband, gone. The kids she had while he was in the ice, gone as well. So happy old Steve just jumped back to our timeline unassisted, which is probably impossible. And he also passes a shield to Sam, which I think that is going to be a different video if I do one, talking about the leadership, Captain America's mantle, and what I think is going to happen with the Avengers, what's going to happen with Sam. Is he going to be a leader? That's a different video, and I'll probably make it. I don't know. But going back to Steve, why would he bother coming back at all if he was so confident that the present day world didn't need him anymore? I mean, why leave the timeline he made, especially if it really were so much better? I mean, there's no incentive, right, to go through that trouble? Ugh. And the second possibility is that Steve did not create a branched timeline by going back. So he stayed in the same one. He just lived his life as quietly as possible through the post-war years. But man, if this is true, it's just fucked up, because this would make him like a partner in crime, a criminal almost, because he knows what happens, like all the horrific things that happens to like people he loves. And this also means that our version of Steve would have always been married to Peggy, even if he didn't know until this exact moment. But it also contradicts what happens in the Agent Carter TV show and several parts of the MCU up to now. Like when Steve was meeting with the dying Peggy, maybe you could say that Peggy forgot about living with Steve. I don't know. That's too messed up. But it contradicts several things of the MCU. And also it means that Steve would be Sharon Carter's uncle. Ugh, what the fuck? But the biggest problem I have, again, as a Cap fanboy, man, if you're a Cap fanboy, you know Steve Rogers, he cannot turn his back on his situation going south. Steve's entire origin story revolves around like his inability to sit back and let a conflict run without him. No, he doesn't like bullies, no matter where they're from. The guy went to a lethal science experiment because he wanted to fight in a war. I mean, he even jumped into a German-occupied territory without an army backing him up. There's a lot of things this guy did that contradicts his behavior in Endgame, and that is the biggest gripe I have with Steve and how they handled him in this movie. I mean, the guy can do this all day, you know? He started a war just to clear the name of Bucky, and being an international fugitive, he also acted as a hero. I mean, there's no world, there's no timeline, no fucking alternate version of Steve Rogers where he just sits on his ass and lets the future deal with its own problems. And it's... So what happened? What's the possibility? What's the consequence? What's the explanation behind this old Steve? Dude, I don't know. So at the end of the day, I think that move, that arc was kind of cheap. I think it was dull. It could be, they could have gone another way, really powerful stuff. However, even if the execution was not there, at least for me, I kind of like having old man Cap. I prefer having Cap instead of Iron Man. I'm glad they chose this ending, that Iron Man was the one to make the sacrificial play, and that Cap is here and he could like possibly be a mentor. He could serve with the Avengers as a coach or as a, the trainer, helping the young guys out and like being a tactician. However, after all of this ranting, all of the negative aspects of Endgame and Steve Rogers, dude, I cried 3 times in this movie. 3 times I cried. One was when Cap lifted Mjolnir. Holy shit, man. When Mjolnir just budged, I was like, no, they're finally doing this shit with Cap. Oh, and I just teared up. I couldn't hold it back. I was surprised with myself when I cried when Tony died. I was like, I knew Iron Man was gonna die at some point in the movie, but it still hit me. I wasn't ready for that. I thought about all the years of movies, of storytelling, of building up, all this time I spent with the characters, and it hit me really hard. And the last one was with old Steve. Like, I couldn't process all the negative shit while watching the movie. But the positives and the emotions were so strong that when I saw old Steve and I saw that he lived the life that he wanted with Peggy, man, again, tear up. And after all of this, my super friends, I want to thank you for listening to this rant, for being here with me. Let me know in the comments down below if you liked what they did with Captain America, with Steve Rogers, because Captain is now Falcon? Is it going to be Captain Falcon or Captain America? I don't know. Maybe like in the comics, maybe he will be Captain America. I'll probably make a video talking about that because it's so much to discuss. Thank you for watching again. If you enjoyed, please click the like button. Follow me on my social media, my Twitter, my Instagram. Request the videos. Say what's up. Whatever. I thank you for watching again. And of course, I'll see you in the next one.